Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of the Other Girls Club podcast. We have such an exciting episode for you today. We have Miss Sophie Milner in the podcast studio. Sophie Milner is an influencer who has style with substance. Not just sharing her great outfits, but opening up about the topics that are on the minds of many young women. From modern dating struggles, navigating life struggles like marriage and being child-free, and of course, politics and pop culture. Please welcome Sophie.
Thank you for having me on. I've also just realised we're Sophie and Sophie today.
So double said,
I know,
thing
exactly.
one, thing two.
Yeah.
Hopefully we will not create as much of a mess as thing one and thing two.
No, definitely not. We're going to
Yes.
stay still. We're just going to chat. It's going to be easy. So yeah, no, it's going to be
And we
good.
have so much to get into.
We've got this, I'm excited for this episode. We've got some really good deep conversations.
Really
and I
good,
feel like
yeah. Okay, but before we get into all of that, I have to ask you, what have you been watching lately?
I'm a big Real Housewives fan. So I've been watching Real Housewives of London recently.
There's one in London now?
There's one in London now. It's new. It only came out like a few weeks ago. And like, I will say, I feel like it's kind of I was a bit worried about it because I was like, are they going to do a good job of it? It's going to be a bit crap. But actually, it's got a lot of like sass and drama. And it has that whole, and they've really tried to like hone in on that whole like British classism kind of thing, but in a very, Bravo TV kind of way. I'm loving it so far. It's very good. And obviously, like when they're going to places that I would go to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh,
they're
cool.
having dinner in Mayfair.
Mm-hmm.
Never sat down to watch it, but I know so many clips of it from TikTok.
Oh yeah, and it's so funny as well because there'll be clips that I know from audios on TikTok, and then I'll be like watching a series. Maybe I'm binge watching a new Bravo like series that I haven't watched before, and then suddenly I'll hear something, and I'm like, that's where it came. That's
from.
The original source. So I just love it. It's so good. But I'm a big reality TV fan in terms of that more scripted reality kind of stuff. Not as in I'm not really big on your Love Islands or things like that.
Yeah. I feel like though it kind of blends in nicely to what we're going to talk about today, because I feel like the kind of like manufactured sort of like reality TV, there is something in it that we kind of like we're craving a little bit, almost like a little peek behind the curtain, but in a way that's like safe and nice to watch from your home.
I think as well for me, which sounds really weird, I think my own life, it's just nice watching other people's shit and other people's drama, even if it's real. And I used to hate, back in the day, this was years ago, I used to watch Made in Chelsea a long time ago, and I really liked it. And I remember like this girl that I know said to me, you do know it's like all fake, right? And I said, I know it's kind of scripted, but I don't care. Like, I can still enjoy it.
Men watch wrestling knowing it's fake.
Oh, absolutely. It's acted.
Of course, let me just say, women also enjoy wrestling too. Yes, but predominantly men love wrestling.
Porn, like,
it's
come
fake.
on. Everyone knows that porn's active as well. People still watching that. So, and they're like, okay, I know it's a little bit fake. They're not there being like, no, it was really real. They really liked each other.
They really had to call that plumber. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, speaking of porn. Speaking of porn, this leads me to nicely on to talk about today. Where do I even start with the things we want to talk about? Dating in 2025, the modern dating world. And I feel like for me, I actually do feel a bit like Jane Goodall right now. R.I.P. She died yesterday.
I know.
And the thing is, I love making that joke. When I'm like, I feel like Jane Goodall. It's like, I feel like Louis Theroux. And then now she's dead. I'm like, I'm like R.I.P. But I do feel like Jane Goodall right now because I'm like, I have access to the straight community. And I can find out what is going on with the straight girlies in 2025. Because whenever I speak to a couple of like my straight girlfriends, they're like, Sophie, it's hell. It's hell and horror. And I'm like, well, dating women's also, it's not a ride in the park, but there seems to be something in the dating pool right now that is causing women a lot of bother.
I think so as well. And I've got one of my friends she's not straight, she's gay, and she also dates women. And I always like hearing her stories as well. And it does seem like there is a similar thing, but I think a lot of the difference comes, a lot of people, men and women, probably have quite bad tendencies with certain things. I do feel like it's perhaps a power imbalance which really takes things in a different dimension when it comes to men, so for straight women, whereas I feel like it's they have this like power, they have this physical power, they have more like social economic power realistically than we do. So I think it kind of puts us in a slightly, it feels a lot more loaded, and like the stakes are maybe a bit more higher and more difficult. But yeah, I won't lie, I really I can't believe, I didn't want to be in October of 2025 saying this and being like, yeah, it's the trenches, because I went into it and I've been single since last February, so February 2024. I really had to think that. I was like,
you're like, wait, what year is it?
and I dated a little bit last year, but I never went on the dating apps. I was very much so, I need to really take my time, heal from this relationship, work on myself. I don't want a relationship. I don't want a man near me. I just really want to be by myself and just enjoy my own company. And I was really enjoying it. And then, you know, but at the same time, I was like, if someone presents themselves and like I meet someone in the wild and I like them and I feel a vibe, I'll go with it. So everyone I dated last year were people that I just met in real life, or it happened very organically. Whereas this year, towards the end of last year and beginning of this year, I was like, I'm going to get back on the apps and I'm going to do it. And I was like, I'm not going to believe that every guy out there is a monster and every guy out there is shit and that dating is really bad. Because I do believe you kind of get out what you put in a lot of cases. That would be my caveat. And I didn't want to go into it with a bad mindset, because I was like, well, obviously if I go in with a bad mindset, I'm gonna have a really bad time. And I will say I've had lots of nice dates this year. I've met a lot of really nice men. I'm no longer on dating apps anymore because it's so much admin. It is so much admin, and I think the issue with dating apps is, and I'm not against them, but I feel like you really have to lock into it. Yeah. And I don't really have the time and energy to lock into anything. And I was using Hinge, and I feel like I was using Hinge mostly, and then Bumble. And I felt like Hinge, I was just using it as a validation tool after a while. And it was, and I every morning, I think the notifications would all push through at the same time. It would be 9 a.m. and I'd be like, bing, 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 bing. And I'd be like, okay.
You're like, no. Dopamine.
But it was. And I really, this year I've spent some time really looking into dopamine and its effects, and especially when it comes to dating and relationships and how like drug-like it can be. And I ended up deleting it because I just was like, it's really distracting. Every night I'm using it, I'm scrolling it like another social media app. I already have TikTok for that, you know? I've already got TikTok for that. So, but I would say I have had some experiences that aren't so good. And it feels like a lot of the guys I have met, whether they are the better ones or better ones, that sounds like really bad, like I'm ranking them. But like
they'll easily rank you. So.
Exactly, okay, the better ones and the worst ones. But I feel like a lot of the guys, there's always been something hiding. And I've always been someone who's really trusted people, and maybe too much. Clearly too much, because it's like, oh, they have like a secret girlfriend, or they're, you know, actually they've just broken up with somebody and they're still in contact with their ex and they're thinking of getting back with their ex and they're using you as validation, or, you know, they're dating multiple people at once, which I don't think is a bad thing, or it's just they're lying to you about their personality, they're lying to you about their kinks, they're just things like that. And it just feels like it's been a lot of deception that I have dealt with. And I'm someone who's very honest with people, probably too honest to a point when I'm dating someone. I'm just like, I'm going to tell you too much stuff and to maybe put you off me. And it's really exhausting. And, you know, you find that you have a connection with someone, and then like you find out that there's somebody else involved and stuff like that. And it just, you get to a point where I feel, for myself, I've always been someone who's quite anxiously attached, and I've done lots of work on that, but there's only so much you can do on that when you're single, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, this is such an important point, right? I had to explain this to one of my friends because they were like, I've done so much work on my healing and I've really improved myself. And I was like, right, I'm going to say something that you might not like, but I'm going to say it because I think it will be helpful. I was like, you have healed in isolation. And yes, you have done so much work on yourself. But darling, there is a difference to healing in isolation and doing that work that you need to, does have to be done in isolation, to just sheltering yourself away. You actually have to put yourself out there again to face potential triggers, to face potential risks, in order to like really complete your healing or to make those bigger leaps in your healing.
It's true. You can only get like 50% of the way there, because the other 50% comes from actually experience. It's like, for example, it's like doing a driving test, right? Yeah. You've got your theory and then you've got your practical. So it's like, oh, I'm going to do all this healing work and I'm doing all this reading and I'm doing all this journaling and meditating and I feel in a really good space. Cool. You've passed your practical test, your theory test. You've passed the theory test now. now. But then it's like, you have to go out into the world and have something which is going to test you. You got to get on the road. You've got to get behind that wheel. You've got to drive that car. You've got to have someone else in the seat. You've got to have other drivers there to be able to test if you can actually do it. And that's the hard part. That's when all of the things that you've learned have come into it. So, and it's quite a difficult thing, but I've actually realized I've kind of gone a little bit the other way into more of an avoidant attachment. And I honestly think and I definitely, the anxious is still there. And maybe I've always been more of an anxious avoidant person, but I feel like I've gone way more avoidant. And now the first sign of something not kind of going right or the way that I want, or feeling discomfort, or I feel like, oh, I might like that person, cut it off. And I'm there like, not interested, because I want to protect my peace. And then I'm like, wow, I'm becoming as bad as the people that I've been pissed off about. So, and I think that's probably a lot what's in it. And I think a lot of people are learning bad habits from people, have been hurt people. And I think, and I always try not to, but I think that sometimes in trying not to hurt people, I've ended up hurting people. Like, I push people away because I'm like, I don't want to hurt you. And they're like, no, like, let me be in your life. Like, I want to be there for you. Like, even if it takes a while. And I'm there like,
you're
really,
like, why?
Really?
Go away.
Yeah, and really, I should have just been like, no, like, I'm not ready for this. Please, honestly. But they're like, if you like me, I don't understand why we can't give this a go. And I'm like, I do like you, but I don't know if I want a relationship or anything serious. And they're like, that's fine. And they're like, okay, but one of us is going to get hurt, and it's not going to be me. It's going to be you. And it's like, and then in the end, it's just the conversation fizzles out, or I don't text back because I forget. And they're like, oh, this hurts. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I did warn you. So everyone's a bit of a mess right now, I think. And I think as well, the main thing for me, I've realized why I would say it's the trenches more than anything, I think, is the lack of honesty from people. I think, and I say predominantly men because I'm saying this from my experience as a straight woman.
Oh, baby, I've got a story for you. Don't worry, it's not just men. And I normally would never ever say that.
But no,
I will be the last to stick up for men.
It's good to get the flip side. But I feel like men will be, people can be very dishonest in their pursuit of validation and getting what they want from you. And it's just because they know if they told you the truth, you'd maybe step away, or you wouldn't text them back, or you wouldn't be as interested. If you say, I want a relationship, and they're like, they're not interested in one, but they want to fuck you, they're going to tell you, yeah, I'm looking for something serious. They're going to give you all this bullshit of like, oh yeah, like, one guy I was talking to who very much so definitely just wanted to hit. He was giving me
And did you know this at the time?
No, because he was giving me all this spiel about how like, oh, you know, have you found dating really hard? Like, I'm finding it really hard because it just feels like everyone just wants something really casual at the minute. And where I was at in the moment, everyone I had met wanted something very serious. So I was like, oh really? Everyone I meet wants something serious. And I'm looking, like, I'm keeping my options open. If something serious happens, great. Like, I'm not really looking for anything casual either, but like, I also am very happy being single. So if something comes up, great. And he's like, yeah, I just feel like I meet girls that just like they just want to sleep with me, and that's it. And I was like,
they only want me for my magical penis.
Literally, it was very much so giving that energy.
When will a woman marry me?
And legit. And then as soon as I was with this guy, he was on me like a rash. He was so sexual. He was honestly just like trying to get in my pants like immediately. And I was just like, I think the problem is you. And after that, and nothing happened between him and I. But afterwards, I felt really weird about it because I felt like he kept pressurizing me, and I was just a bit like, I kept having to say like no to him and be like, no, like, come on, like I know I'm really attracted. He's like, oh, but you're just so gorgeous, and I just can't stop. I can't keep my hands off you. And I'm just like, yeah, I think you're hot as well, but like, can we not? And it was really frustrating having to constantly say that, and it was annoying as well because also I was attracted to this guy. So yeah, it's just these things, and it's just I'm like, just respect my boundaries.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's like when it comes to something like that, you should only need to be told once. And I feel like you should be like, if you say to him once, actually, can you back off a little bit? Also, as well, there probably would have been many signs up until that point where like men just can't seem to read a room.
I know.
Or they can read a room and they don't care.
Non-verbal cues.
They push for it regardless.
I had another situation with another guy, and I feel a little bit nervous talking about it because it came up like, but I think it's important to say, because actually really weirdly I spoke to my therapist about it yesterday, and she was talking about how this is so commonly the female sexual experience, and it's something that really isn't addressed. And actually, I'm glad I'm talking about it because I didn't really know what sexual fawning was until this year.
I have never heard
so like
of that.
when you have like a like response to like something stressful, there's like fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And fawn is like freeze, obviously like you're freezing up, you don't do anything. Fight, punch someone. Flight, you run away. And fawn is one which is very common in women. Obviously, I'm not a psychologist. I'm just repeating what I've been told by others. Fawn is when you kind of essentially go through with something to appease the person who has more power in that dynamic, to make it a little bit more, even if you don't want to do it, you do it to kind of just get through it. And I've realized I have done that. And so many women do this in sexual situations where you fawn sexually. So like say something happens in the bedroom that you aren't happy with, and you just don't feel comfortable in the moment saying don't do that, or I didn't like that, so you kind of just let it happen, and then afterwards you feel really shit about it because that feels the safest thing in the moment for you. And that I have realized from experiences I've had this year that has actually been my default response. And I hate it because when I have spoken out about certain things that have happened, people have been like, what the fuck? Why didn't you say to him, like, what the fuck are you doing? Why did you do that? Why didn't you if that was me, I would have just got out and stormed right out. And I'm there like, I couldn't. It's like I froze and then I just continued with it because I just didn't know what to do. And I had a situation with someone a while back, and it was only looking back at this situation and really deeping it because I didn't really want to acknowledge anything had happened with this guy because I was like, I've regretted it. But we were together at his house, and we were never anything more than friends. And we were sober, and he started kissing me, and I was just like, and then I kind of like, we had kissed one time when we were drunk. But nothing had happened anything in any other way. And we were sober this time, and I was at his house, and I thought, he's my friend, he's someone I rely on. Yeah, we had a drunken kiss, but like whatever. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home now. And he was like, oh, and then he just starts kissing me. And I was, it's one of those mixed feelings. And it's almost like in the moment I was like, okay, I'm gonna kiss him back to see how I feel, because I know it sounds stupid, but when people talk about like, oh, like just maybe the slow burn will happen for you. And I don't know, in my head I was like, well, people keep telling me that I should invest and indulge in a slow burn instead of someone I have a spark with. So maybe I just need to kiss him to see if there's anything burning, and nothing was burning apart from my fucking anxiety. And then like, so we kissed for a bit, and I was just like, oh, like, I should really go now. And he was like, oh, okay. Then starts kissing me more. And then like, we kissed for a bit, and then at that point I was like, okay, I'm gonna, I really, really should, you're like, I really should go now. And then he's like, and then he was kissing me more. At this point, I like got up, I sort of like stopped, and then like you kind of kissing someone, you're making out, and then you're pulling away from their kiss because you're trying to end the kiss, and you use less tongue because you're like, I need to kind of bring it.
I want to get out.
I want to get out. So I did that, and then like I was like, did the whole very British. So anyway, I was like, yeah, like pretty much. I was like, okay. I was like, and I was kind of like jokingly and cutesy. I was like, okay. I was like, that's it. I was like, I'm going home now. And then he gets up and then starts kissing me, and then picks me up and takes me upstairs. And at this point,
oh god,
yeah. And like at this point, and I obviously I should have said no. And I feel like it's a very messy thing. And I always maintain when I've told like, I only told a few people about this. I actually can't believe I'm fucking saying this, but this is what happens to me. I always end up oversharing. But I think it's important to explain the situation. He picked me up and carried me upstairs. I could have said no. I should have said no. And I should have just been like, no, I'm going home. And I should have been more firm instead of like, oh no, I'm going home. Like I should have done. But also he should have listened to me. He should have respected my boundaries. He should have respected my I'm going home the first time. Mm-hmm. And I have always maintained I did consent to it. Yeah. I did consent to like what happened afterwards. But it was probably like a blur of boundaries. And I've had like a couple of close friends said to me like, no, that wasn't consensual. And I was like, it kind of was. And also like the thing is, if he knew how I felt about this, he'd be shocked, because he probably would have been like, well, it seemed like you were enjoying it. The whole time I was just lying there being like, I just want this to be over, because, and I'm like, this was like, I'm in my 30s. Why the fuck is this happening to me still? Yeah. And it just made, and I guess cause like we were friends as well, like it made me feel, and it was like, and I want to maintain the fact that I believe that was something that was consensual, because I consented and I went through with it. Didn't mean I enjoyed it really, because I knew I shouldn't have done it, and I knew I wanted to leave. And it's just that really, it's a really frustrating thing. And I only really thought about this. This happened quite a while back now. And I only really thought about it a few months ago, and it hit home to me. I was just like, it did make me feel really uncomfortable. And I I didn't really tell anybody about it because I didn't want people to know, and I felt ashamed and embarrassed that like someone who stands for as much as I fucking stand for online allowed that to happen. And I ended up like not having sex with anybody for a year after that because I felt so, I don't know, I just didn't want to have sex with anyone. I was like, I just only want to have sex with someone that like I really care about and that I do have a spark with. I'm not trying to see if a slow burn occurs just because someone else likes me.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I just
think that's a lot.
It's a lot. And
yeah.
I you know, I spoke to my therapist about this and she was just like, what you're describing happens so frequently with women, and it makes up a massive percentage of the female sexual experience. And so many men don't know this because they either don't care, or obviously because women do perform in these situations and like to kind of often try and get it over and done with. Like
literally as you're sitting there, first of all, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate you opening up, because as you were sitting there talking, I'm thinking, yeah, that's that experience for me, and that one and that one and that one. And there, for me, I think the topic of consent is really layered, and I don't think we teach it in a very productive way. I don't know how they're teaching consent in schools, because funnily enough, I don't spend a lot of time in schools right now. But the way that I always understood consent growing up was, if you say no, that's not giving consent. But I think now that I'm older, and now that I'm reflecting a lot of my sexual experiences largely with men, now I don't date men, I only date and sleep with women. But for a lot of my younger, you know, like coming of age years, I did date and sleep with predominantly men. But I'm looking back at a lot of those experiences, and I think for a lot of them, yes, I did consent, but I didn't really want to be there.
Yes.
And I think it took me a long time to understand what my consent means. And I think it took me a long time to understand that I don't have to sleep with people just because they want me.
Yeah.
I think I was kind of I think like I always understood like, oh yeah, the basics of like, you can say no if you want to, of course you can, but also like, malvalidation was such a drug. And I felt like for me it did take me a really, really long time, up until maybe end of last year, to kind of accept the fact that, yeah, I'm gay, I am a lesbian, I'm not bi. I always thought I was bi for such a long time, because for me, my experiences with men were performances.
Yes, okay.
And I didn't get off on being with the men and the experiences with the men themselves. I got off on the performance of it all. I got off on the performing femininity, what I thought was femininity anyway, performing what I thought was sexuality, and getting that validation back from them.
How old were you when you like went through this? Because I definitely had this stage in my life. I think anything probably from the age of 18 to 24 was probably all about that.
Well,
kind of thing.
For me, like it's quite for me it's very interesting, because I became disabled at 21. And so up until I was 21, my experiences were largely with men. Like I had been with women before, and like, you know, every woman loving woman out there will tell you about your homoerotic best friend growing up. It's a thing. But like I predominantly been with men, and that was when I think I had just no clue what I was going through. And then when I became disabled at 21, I actually, for ages after becoming disabled, didn't go anywhere near sex or dating at all. And it was because when I was in hospital, so I had a boyfriend at the time that I became disabled, and he broke up with me while I was in hospital. So that was
so much I could say on that.
Yep.
That's actually so fucking typical. Like honestly, this is such a reoccurring typical theme. I'm really angry that.
But it traumatized me in a lot of ways, I think.
Yeah.
One, because it for years, and until to a point now where I feel like for years I've had to really work on my self-worth and my self-esteem. Because I really felt for years like, oh, okay, a relationship and sex and dating and all of that stuff just won't be for me like that's not something that I deserve or that people want from me. And I think like I would have never have said it that outright, but I really believed it deep down, which then again I feel really fucking shit, because I get online every day and go, accessibility is a human right, disabled people deserve love and respect, but deep down I was thinking, no, like I don't deserve that. And it's another thing like to believe it for other people, but then to feel it like for yourself. And so and like something you mentioned earlier as well, of like it almost like becoming a pattern of like hurt people, because then whenever anyone expressed interest in me, I'd be like, no, that's not for me, I don't do that. And I'd always play it off of like, oh, I don't date, I just focus on my career, and you know, I just focus on physio and fitness, and I really indulged myself in all these other things because I didn't want to put myself out in the possibility of having to like touch that area of my life. And in one way that really benefited me, because I kind of ended up getting everything I ever wanted career-wise and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. But then there was this whole area of my life which I completely neglected for so long that when it came to a point where I was like, oh, I think I actually maybe could start exploring that, I didn't know what the fuck to do.
It's a whole new thing.
I was like, well, one, like dating is just hard anyway, but also I was like, how the fuck do you date as a disabled person? How do you navigate that? Like,
and you're experiencing all of that for the first time as well. Like that's the thing. It's an entirely new thing.
And no one sits you down and goes, oh, okay, well, you can do this or this, or you know, don't do this, or no, like no one does that. I mean, people barely do that for able-bodied people anyway.
No, but like it's a whole different, completely unwritten book essentially when you're dealing with it when you're disabled, I can imagine.
And there's not that, no one actually tells you it, and there's not that representation as well.
No, I was thinking that as well, because it's like there's obviously there's plenty. I follow quite a few creators, but it's that side of things isn't often really spoken about, really, like dating and like sex and that kind of thing. And it's just, that must have been a real minefield.
It is. I mean, it is. I'm in a point now where I'm actually having like so much fun right now in that sort of space in my life. But that's only come from me really accepting my sexuality and being like, I know what I really want right now. And so now I'm at a point where I'm like, I feel like I'm really going through this like almost kind of like sexual coming of age, like liberation, like fun side, but I'm like that. 29 and a lot of people around me went through that at 19, 20, you know, 21, the years where I was either like traumatized from really young experiences or I was like recovering from becoming disabled.
But as well, I would say I actually have quite a few female friends who are kind of going through a similar thing in their early 30s for different reasons, but they are the same but different reasons, because they've been in like really long-term relationships since they were maybe in their like early 20s, guys they met at university, they've spent most of their 20s with them, hit their 30s, and it's like, well, you know, some of them have got married and got divorced, and now they're like, I think I'm gay, and that's it. And then now they're like, I think I might be gay and I want to explore and be with a woman. And then now they're dating women, and like they're going on this whole new thing in their 30s. And they're like, this is so new for me and so interesting. And it's crazy. I probably actually shouldn't even say, but one of my friends, she's dating a guy he's seriously cut up because he was engaged, and his fiance left him for a woman, and now she's in a relationship with a woman, and she's there like, I've been gay my whole life, I just kind of was just trying to sort of hide it and hope that I wasn't, and all of this stuff. And I think women are really going through a very interesting phase of sexuality. And I'm not going to say I think like sexuality I believe exists on a spectrum for most people can be way more one side than the other, most certainly. But I just feel like, and I don't feel like people can necessarily turn anyone gay, but in my head, I am thinking, I'm like, is it that bad out there that are the men that bad out there that they're turning women gay?
Are men turning women gay?
Are men turning women gay? That is the question
of this episode.
Yeah, I know, because it has got me wondering. I'm like, maybe.
I think as well. I think from what I've experienced and what I've seen, I think the male dating pool is so bad that I think a lot of women are going, I don't fucking want that. And I think for a lot of women, it's the first time we've been able to say, actually, I don't want that. And I'm not going to have that.
This is it. And you know that saying that like keeps popping up on TikTok, and it's like something like an average woman is a good man. And it's like, if you have like all these things going for you, like, you know, like it's like, oh, like you go to the gym, you have a job, like you're earning good money, you take care of yourself, like you look after your, like, you know, you see your family, you know, you look after your pet, you're there for your friends, all of this stuff, like, you know, like all of these things, that's very tick, 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 tick. You know, oh, you're emotionally intelligent, oh, you're a kind person, you give to charity, things like that, tick, tick, tick. Most women do all of that stuff, but if a man does it, it's like, wow, that is a good man. That's a good man, Savannah. It is, and it's just like really, it's like we're holding them to a very different standard for things that women are very much so conditioned to do, like basic empathy and stuff like that. And it's like when they'll say like, oh yeah, oh it's so good that, you know, your partner's a hands-on dad. I was like, oh, what? Because, and I see it with some of my friends
when
and
they
their partners,
call it babysitting,
and they'll be like, oh, it's daddy daycare today, and I'm like, oh, what? Because your girlfriend's gone out for lunch with her fucking mates. Get a grip. Get a fucking grip. Honestly, it makes me so angry. It really makes me mad. But then this is it. I think a lot of women, we are in a position now, and you see these also, I'm just referring to TikTok every 5 seconds, but I'm like, you're seeing these like trends, and it's like, oh, I'm the first woman in my bloodline who can travel solo and can do this and can do that and do all this stuff. And it's true, because even our mother's generation, it was still way more normalized to settle down into marriage, and there probably, you know, there was more gaps between things, so it did make more sense.
And to marry young,
young,
that's an important thing. And
yes.
I feel like, well, structurally the patriarchy encourages marriage young before you start to question these things, because I'm 29. Yeah, so I'm 29 now. You're what, 32?
34 now.
34 now. And like, we're now at ages where we're like, oh, we're starting to realize things that and we're thinking we should have realized this earlier, but how could we when we grew up in a society that was teaching us so many conflicting and subliminal messages?
And I am someone who, I grew up on Disney, and I very much
so my dad wouldn't, not that he wouldn't let me watch Disney, but he would discourage me from watching too Americanized media.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, my dad didn't even let me have like kitchen play sets and stuff when I was a kid, because he didn't want those like...
Yeah, that's so cool. I think I just don't think I had them, because I was never interested in baby dolls. I always found it even weird as a child. It was very, very, very
my dad hates those as well.
I was like, I just found it really weird, because I was like, I think my parents would always, we go to toy shopping, it would be a case of what would you like?
What are you interested in?
Every time it was the Barbies, it was the Bratz dolls, it was the fashion dolls, it was the car, the Barbie in the car, it was always, and I never understood, and I even think I'd say to my mum, be like, Mummy, I don't understand, why would I, it actually is so accurate to how I've grown up though, like, why would I want a baby doll? Why would I want to look after a baby doll and play with a baby doll and change its nappy? I did find it interesting that they had that, like, the baby born doll that could wee, and I found that interesting, because I was like, wow, it wees, because I was like, but it was more like, how does this work? Like, where does the water go? Like, it was interesting for that perspective, and that was it. I had no interest. I tried to like them because other girls liked them, and I was aware that other girls liked them. I hated them. I was like, just give me the Barbies. I'm making the Barbies have sex with the Ken dolls and stuff. But, I
had Barbies when I was a kid, and I had the big Barbie jet plane. I remember that. I used to make my Barbies and my Bratz scissor, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I actually see, this is why I think I know that I am straight. I didn't make them do that, but I had the male dolls, and I was just there like...
Or the action men.
Yeah, it's probably like a really gay Ken that was like, please don't make me do this with my bestie Barbie, and I'm there like...
You're like, I will feminize Ken.
It was so funny. But yeah, I was always like a Barbie kind of girl, and I think that's kind of how I've grown up, because it's like, I have zero interest in children. Yeah. I have zero interest. I mean, don't get me wrong.
And you don't now. Where are you on the marriage kids? Because I know obviously.
Okay, so for me, I was dating this guy. He's so nice, but I'm just not. I'm very emotionally unavailable right now. Like, I just am, and I told him that. I was very honest with it. And I bumped into him in the park, and I sat with him in the park, and I kind of told him all the reasons, including that story that I just told you about that guy, like, that have led up to me being quite emotionally unavailable and just very with men at the moment. And I just like blurted out, and this isn't something you should really say to a guy that likes you. I was like, I can't think of anything worse than having a boyfriend right now. And then I looked at him, and he was so sweet. He's so nice. And he was like, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I probably should have kept that. Probably should have been an inside thought, not an outside one. And he's like, no, he's like, look, you've had a lot of shit experiences. It's fine. And I was like, at least you know where I'm at. But I'm 34, and I'm very single. I actually can't think of anything worse than having a boyfriend right now. I actually can't. And there was a window in the summer, because like in the summer it's fun, and you're having like, it's really funny. I feel like the opposite people are, oh yeah, cuffing season, cozying up for winter. And I'm there like, no, I want a summer boyfriend. Yeah. I want to go on some hot holidays. I want to have like a hot summer romance, and then be single in winter.
Well, because in the winter I like to lock in.
Yeah,
you know, not to be all fitnessy bro, but I really lock in on the winter.
Same, and it's like, I don't want a boyfriend for that. Like, I don't want that. I want my alone time. I want to enjoy it. Whereas it's like, I want to have a summer flings and that kind of thing. So I'm like, so I'm all about that. But then, so maybe there was a window in the summer where I was like, maybe I would like something. And I started the year thinking maybe this year I would like to get a bit into a relationship again. I haven't seen any relationship. I only have one friend who has a relationship that I actually think that's a nice relationship and I would quite like something like that. Everyone else who's in a relationship, no offense to any of them, I don't want to. My life is so much better. I'm so much better off single. And I do believe that there will be someone that will change my mind at some point. I'm in zero rush to find it. And I think I'm very lucky that my parents they're not like super traditional and they're like, oh yeah, like, you know, you should settle down and you should get married and have kids. They're very much so like, no, go out and do this all for yourself. Go and do it for yourself. The man will come when the time's right. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I think my mum would be like, oh, it'd be nice if there was someone there to look after you, because I feel bad that there's no one to make you a coffee in the morning. And I'm like, girl, I make my own coffee, it's fine. But it would be nice if there was someone, but that means I've got to share my bed with them and I don't want to do that. But I just, and with the whole kids thing as well, I've never been a maternal person. I wouldn't say, I used to like maybe joke and be like, oh, I hate kids. And I don't. I'm very protective over kids.
Just quickly, I hate when people think, because you don't want kids. They think you're like Cruella de Vil.
Yes.
I hate kids.
Yes.
To say I hate kids is such a strong statement. I don't want kids because I respect kids. And I know what they need. I know what they deserve. I can't and don't want to give that.
Yeah.
I don't hate children. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate noise, which children create.
Same.
I hate mess, which children create.
Same.
But I don't hate children.
No.
And I think that's such a strong thing people say. And I think it really feeds into the like almost witch-like image people build up of childlike women.
Child-free women.
Child-free women, yeah. Because it's like, oh, they hate children. No, I don't. I don't hate children. I don't want one in my house.
Yes. Yeah.
But I don't hate your child.
No, agreed. And you know what I used to say? I don't like children. Not as in like I don't like as in the two were I don't like them, dislike them. I mean it as in I don't like them, as in like I'm there like, oh cute. I mean it like that. I don't say that anymore because I think it's very easy to get misinterpreted, and I don't like putting that energy out there anyway because it's just a very misinterpreted energy. I'm just very indifferent to kids, but I'm very protective over them in the fact that like I don't know, I think kids are so special, and they like, oh my god, now I sound like the total opposite. I'm like, the children are the future, but they are. And I think kids need so much love and so much nurturing, and like they deserve everything, and all of them deserve to be treated so well, and no child deserves anything horrible to ever happen to them. And I feel really protective, and I'd always want to protect a child. Do I want my own?
I would be, hey, look, no pressure on my brother, but I'd be a great auntie. I'd be a great auntie, or, you know, but I just, I feel nothing when I look at a child. Like I was sharing a lift. I was sharing a lift with a baby today, and the woman, the mother, was pushing it in the pram that had a little bear suit on it. Fashion part of me went, oh, that's cool. But I felt nothing like, oh my God. I feel that when I look at dogs and when I look at animals. But I don't feel it when I look at human children. But the things that really get me for kids is, so I actually, I was walking through like Canary Wharf last year, and I actually had an experience where a child in front of me was being bullied by people they went to school with, and it was homophobic bullying, which closest way to get me to suddenly turn into a mother apparently. But I took this kid, and I actually made sure they got home, and like I sat with them, spoke with them, walked them home, and that for me, I remember like I cried that night when I got home because I felt so maternal, but not in. I felt maternal in like a community kind of way. Yeah. I felt that's where I felt like I need to do my, first of all, I was very surprised that I was suddenly the trusted adult. I was like, I'm the child. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, so I was very surprised that I could very quickly turn into a responsible adult. Yeah. I don't see myself as a grown up. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of a bit stunted in my age, but yeah. But I all of a sudden was like, I will protect this child. I will do my responsibility, make sure this child gets home. Yeah. And but it wasn't in like a way of like, I want a child now.
It's like it takes a village kind of way of being like that role. And I agree, and I love that. And I think it's such a beautiful thing. And I think for me, this is also gonna sound really kind of fucked up. I don't know, like I love my mum to bits. I'm very blessed. I've got very close parents. Like I'm very close to my mum and my dad, and they've done a lot for me. But Jesus Christ, I still call them about problems all the time. I'm like, if I call my mum when I'm upset, I call my dad for like, oh, the car's got this like weird like emoji and it looks like this. It's FaceTiming. Yeah, I'm like, the car's doing the bad red emojis again. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm a typical girl when it comes to shit like that.
My dad pumped up my car tires the other day and he went, Sophie, they're 19. I was like, is that bad? He's like, yes.
Yeah, my dad, I had to FaceTime him and he had to tell me, he's like, oh, there's a tire pressure gauge thing in the back or whatever. He had to like, I was there with my nails, like my nice nails on, like being like that in the side of the road, trying to figure it out. But yeah, like, and it's just all this stuff. And like, but I'm 34. When are they going to rest? When they're dead? That's it. That's it. It's like, I mean, God forbid, but still, I'm like, that's it. And then it's like, oh God, like, I don't know. I just can't imagine having to deal with something. And also, I am such a loving person. I have so, and this is also, I think, why I am very happy being single at the minute, because I give so, when I'm in a relationship, I love so deeply. I give that person so much love, so much energy, to a point that it is like, I need to keep some for me. When I'm single, I am getting all of that myself. Whereas when I'm in a relationship, they're getting that, and I need to find a healthier balance of it. But then it's the same. Like, I'm there, like, I cannot imagine having a kid and loving something that much. And even the little things, like, I'm the same. I get really overstimulated with like noise. I really like silence. Like, my mum comes and stays with me, and she's always got the radio on, and she's singing, and she's narrating.
My dad will have the radio and the TV on.
I know, and I'm just there like
at the same time.
Oh, I'm there. I need. My mum's like, you just like silence, don't you? And I'm like, yes, I love silence. I love silence so much, like, because I just like silence. And it's like calm, and I can't imagine having a kid. And also, I hate having to have conversations with children. I was never like, I don't think I was ever like the kind of kid that had very like childish conversations. I was always having very like, oh, tell me about this, about the world, and I want to know this, and why is this like this, and why is this like that. I'd probably speak to a lot more adults when I was a kid.
Yeah, I would never be sat on a kid's table. I would always end up on an adult's
table. Same.
Because I would be asking questions. Like,
it's interesting. So I just find it hard having conversations with kids, because I just hate having to be like, wow, that's so good, when it's shit.
I'm looking at a drawing like that ain't going on the fucking fridge.
Honestly. And I just don't think I would struggle. I would also struggle having to do that all the time. So I'd end up, and if I did, all of this said, I am going to freeze my eggs early next year. Because I did like the fertility tests, because I was there like, I don't want to lose the option in case I change my mind. And I'm going to caveat all of this by saying I think I could change my mind if I was with the right man. And I fucking hate myself for saying that. It doesn't mean that I'm desperate for it and that I'm looking for it. Yeah. It means that if I met the right, people would be like, you change your mind when you meet the right man. I'm like, no, this is a decision that's dependent on me. The thing is, I could meet the right person and still not change my mind. But I feel like I would be more likely to change my mind if I was with somebody who had qualities that I think he would make an amazing father, he would make an amazing husband, he would make an amazing, he's got traits that I would want him to give to a child, and that he would be supportive of me. Also, I'm going to be honest, they'd have to be earning decent money, because I'm not bringing a child into the world like growing up with no money and struggling, where we have to think like, oh, money's a little tight. I want that kid to be spoiled as fuck, because I wasn't. So I'm gonna like, I want to be able to spoil a kid, and I only want what if I had one, I'd only have one, because I always wanted to be an only child. So like, no offense to my sister, but I always wanted to be an only child. And yeah, so it's like, it would take all of these things, and it's really nice to know that I'm in a situation where I don't feel pressured. And I should do, maybe based on my fertility tests, but I don't, why the fuck would I make the decision based on like for my whole life, when it's like, I don't know if I want that. Yeah. I would rather regret not having kids than regret having kids.
I always find it interesting how people ask people, why don't you want kids? But you never hear people ask, why do you want kids? Because whenever you ask people that, because I have asked people. I've asked people. And a lot of the responses you get is like, oh, it's just what you do.
Yes. And it is. It's just like, and I feel like it's like some people just have that in them, where it's just like this very natural, innate thing. But one of the things that always really annoys me is when people are like, and it's usually men that say this. I'm not a misandrist, I swear. But it'll be men who say, they'll be like, oh, well, why do you want kids? And they're like, why would you not want a little mini me running around? And I'm there like, I'm like, you haven't really thought this through. And also, that's such a man. If I could be a dad, I am so terrified at the idea of having to have a baby and like my body being completely out of my control. It's really scary. Yeah. I gained so much weight when I was on my antidepressants, and I didn't realize it was the antidepressants until I was off. All I could see was I'm gaining weight and I don't understand why. And I felt really out of control of my body. And you're not always going to be in control of your body, but it fucked with my head so badly. I'm really scared of that happening. Not even in
just a body image way, but also in like a health and
safety
way.
Yeah.
There are so many aspects of pregnancy that I did not know about until people have told me about them. And that's largely come from TikTok. Largely come from TikTok and people my age who have started to have kids. And I'm like, I didn't know about this,
and it sounds awful. And I just think like people talk about like swollen bits down there, and they're talking about hair in certain places and things growing and swelling and being painful, and
even inside, like the way you're inside. I didn't know about gestational diabetes.
I don't know about gestational diabetes. What is this?
So yeah, like I was gonna say a lot, but I don't know if it's a lot actually. I don't know how many women, but like women will frequently get diabetes that's just for when they're pregnant. So hopefully if you control, but you have to do everything that the diabetics have to start doing, like taking your blood sugar and all of that. And I know because I know a woman who went through it, and I was like, I didn't know about that.
No, I don't want this. I don't want it. And I know everyone's like, oh, it's so worth it. And also I actually really admire content creators and like that have become mothers sharing their journey so honestly and saying it's really fucking hard. I love my baby so much, and I love my baby, like it means, like he means everything to me. She's my whole world, but I'm really struggling right now. The postpartum depression, and I just feel like, and so I would say most of them have all said, I actually would say everyone that I know who has become a mum has said, I feel like I've lost my identity, and that scares me so much. Because I feel like I spent my life trying to find who I am, and I'm not willing to lose that person when I'm so happy with
and
who
I don't
I
know
am.
about you, but like I feel like maybe we're in the same place where I feel like it's taken me so long to find out who I am.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's like, I'm here and I'm happy. I don't want to give that up. And I think that's really sad. And that's not me saying that, oh, if you have a baby, you lose your identity. Because I don't think so.
You don't have to.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But like, I think a lot of women feel that way. Based on people that I spoke to, they feel like they've lost they have a new identity of them as a mother. And it's like, where does their identity exist outside of the baby?
Yeah. And how do they coexist?
Yeah. And it's obviously very difficult because you are this child's primary caregiver for a long time, because that's how it works. And it's really difficult. So I feel for them, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to fucking do that. In my head, I'm still 24. I'm not 34. I'm 24.
In my head, I'm like 21.
Literally. So it's just, this is it. So I'm not ready. So I'm gonna freeze my eggs in sometime next year, I think, just to have some kind of insurance policy. And that it's not always an insurance policy. You think it is, and it might not work. And you know, you might not need them. It might not work. I might spend this money and then be like, well, I never ended up using them anyway. And it might be a case where I do end up using them. Maybe I'll get to an age and I'll be like, I haven't met anyone and I want to do it by myself. So who knows? But like I always think as well, for me, as much as I'm like a very much so a hater, I'm such a lover girl as well. Like I do really love being in love, and it is, but I'm just not ready to give myself away that much at the moment in my life. And if I meet someone, I'm going to want at least 5 years with them when it's just us seeing the world, doing cool shit. So that pushes me already. Let's say I meet him when I leave the studio and I'm like, wow, actually, this is the man for me. I'm like, wow, where are we going after this? It's like, they give me 5 years. I'm now 38. So it's like, wait, that's bad math. I'm 39. Sorry, I was doing that based on the math of me being 33. I'm now nearly 40.
But so, I think about, right, he won't mind me mentioning this, but my dad and my mum didn't have a great relationship. My biological mum, I'd have nothing to do with my mum, my mother. But my stepmum, brilliant. I love my stepmum, Hayley. But they have such a relationship that I look at and go, oh, okay, I would like a relationship one day. And I look at some of my friends. There's only a few of my friends I look at and I think, right, that's what I would like my relationship to be at. But my dad didn't meet her till he was in his 40s. Yeah. But they just clicked and they worked, and it was that time in their life where they met and they just worked at that time in their life. Whereas if she'd have met my dad when he was a bit younger, I don't think they would have worked.
This is it, right? And this is what I think. And I think I maybe have like kind of commitment issues myself in this. I'm there like, yeah, men are the problem. I'm the problem as well. But I guess I think, and I'm like, I'll meet someone really nice. And I'm like, wow, he's so nice. And then I'm like, but do you want him to be your boyfriend? Because you're at an age where this man could be the man that you spend the rest of your life with. And I'm like, not ready to commit, not ready. I don't know if he's the one. I don't know if he'd ever be the one. I don't even want to give him a chance to be the one, because I'm not ready to say yes to the man for the rest of my life. And he doesn't.
I think of Samantha from Sex and the City.
Yes.
And I think of those women having so much fun in their late 30s and 40s on that show. And I think because I think that's the thing. The highlight for me of this conversation is dating is meant to be fun. And I think to anyone listening to this thinking, like, yeah, God, dating is the trenches and this, that, whatever, whether you are dating men, women, non-binary people, whoever you're dating, it's meant to be fun. Yeah. You know, you're meant to get something out of it. Like, even if you don't end up in a relationship with that person, you don't end up marrying that person, you're meant to have fun.
I agree. And I think my tip for that, actually, I have a tip for that, is it's more of a mindset thing. And I used to find dating a lot more fun when I was younger. And I think it's because, like, honestly, the less serious, it sounds really counterproductive, the less serious you take dating, the more fun it will be, because you're not grading someone mentally on being like, oh, is this the kind of qualities my future partner will have. I'm not saying like let a man treat you like shit, or like, you know, let someone, I don't know, if someone's got bad things that you don't like, see them again just for the plot. But I just think it's just, if we go into it very, very seriously as if we're interviewing someone. I've had guys do this to me. I've gone on a date and it felt like I was in a fucking interview.
Well, because they're interviewing, most of them will see it as they're interviewing their potential wife.
Yes.
They're interviewing the mother of their children.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just going to be like, I'm going to fail on every single test that you give me. I'm going to give you every incorrect answer just because I'm like, I don't like what's happening here. So I think it's like I think it is meant to be fun. And I think it's like, if it doesn't work out or the connection wasn't there, just don't dwell on it. It's an experience. It's one to tell your friends about.
And even the most heartbreaking dating experiences, because God, have I had some. Even with women, because that's another thing. People are like, I'm just going to date women. I'm just going to be a lesbian.
They're just as much of a problem.
No.
They're just as much as a problem. Oh my God.
There is so much within the lesbian dating community, and that's a whole other conversation. But even in those experiences, that when I was in the trenches of them, like there was this one time I was dating this girl, and I found out like quite a few months in, and when I was getting really invested, that she was still kind of seeing her ex-boyfriend but her and her ex-boyfriend were together for like 2 years. And
I've heard this story so many times from my friends who date women,
and it was crazy. And do you know how I discovered it? The bastard followed me on Instagram. I was like, you are bold, sir. Yeah, one day he randomly followed me on Instagram, and I was like, that's weird, who's that? Because it came up. That's why I looked at his profile, and like, and during the time we'd been dating, they'd been on holiday together, and it was like a whole thing. And so there's experiences like that where I'm like, even at the time, and I remember at the time being like, I'm not, I was like, even the women aren't safe, I'm not going to date anymore, like I'm just I'm not doing that, I'm not put myself through that. But even now I look back at it and I go, I wouldn't change a thing. You know, well, maybe I would, but I don't regret it. I don't regret my part in it, because I learned something from that experience. And every experience I've had, I've got that brought me closer to being more confident.
Yeah.
And to really now, really feel like I'm at a part of my life now where I'm having fun. I'm getting what I want from dating and sex and relationships. But I wouldn't have been able to get close to that without all of those experiences which made me never want to do it again.
Oh, exactly. I'm so with you. And I had a situation in this summer, and it's actually really embarrassing to admit. So I actually haven't really met anyone. I met one guy at the start of the year that I had a spark with on the first date. We met at a dating event, went on a date like pretty much the next day, and had such a good spark. And then when we went on the second date, the spark just really wasn't there. But the spark was there from the start. And then I didn't feel that again. That was the first time I felt a spark like that with somebody since I was in my last relationship, and since I met him. And everyone I went on a date with, I was just like, they're nice. And I just didn't have that spark with anyone. I know people talk about sparks and they're like, but chemistry doesn't equal compatibility. I know, but I'm also the kind of person that I absolutely need a spark for something to start. Yeah. I need the chemistry and the compatibility. I need the spark at the start to even get going, because I'm not a slow burn person.
Mm-hmm. Well, I need to know it's more, I think, especially for me, dating women, I'm like, I need to know it's more than friendship.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Because if we're friends, cool, but I want to know.
You want to know if it's something else. Exactly. And it's like, I just feel like it's slow burn is just, it only works if you are in a friendship group with somebody and like you're being exposed to, or if you're in an office. If you're in an office and you're seeing someone in that capacity. I am friends with just women, and pretty much, and all the guys I'm friends with have girlfriends, or they are my girlfriend's boyfriend, you know. It's that kind of situation. So I don't work in an office. There's no scenario slow burn would happen. And if you meet someone
a neighbor,
no.
A slow burn with a neighbor. Oh,
that would be good. That would be so good, though.
I'm thinking of the Wattpad story.
Yeah, that would be so. that would be good. But this is it, and it's like. But I feel like most people I meet them in a dating. The neighbor would be the only good option, because I meet the rest in like a very dating capacity. Yes. So like you meet there's a little bit of like so let me take you for a drink, and they're not asking you for a drink as a friend. So it's like there's no. And if you say, hey, I just want to be friends with you, with the thinking maybe this would slow burn over time, they're just like, oh no, I'm just interested in you romantically, so no. But I ended up meeting a guy that I had a real big spark with him, and like I actually ended up really crashing out over this guy in like a few months ago, and it was like nothing. It wasn't anything really serious. But I think it was the first time I'd felt something in so long. And I was like, this has reignited something that I thought was dead in me. and even though I was really upset, in the end, I cut things off with him because I don't know, I freaked out. I was like, I like this guy, and actually the reality is, it's funny because I look back at it and I'm like, never would work. This guy was not very intelligent. Like, he really wasn't very intelligent. I was like, there was a lot of things that like weren't right, and I was like, I feel like he didn't so bad. He didn't even really ask me questions.
No, but they never do.
They never do. And I just really fancied him. But at least I knew that I was able to really fancy someone, and that's the important thing.
You're like,
for me.
good, I'm not dead inside.
Exactly.
That's what I needed.
And that was like, even though I was crashing out so much over this guy who actually was a bit of a loser and like was just like a hot loser.
Yeah.
I'm glad, because I was like, you know what? At least there's something in there and down here that still works, you know?
No, but sometimes you need that.
I know, exactly. So I'm grateful, even though I went fucking insane. But it was nice to know that it's still there, because I felt like, I was like, I'm dead. I'm dead to the world. I'm dead to everyone.
I felt like
I'm
that for years.
yeah. So I'm like, but it's still got it. It's still got it. It just takes a hot loser to bring it out of me. So yeah, it's just, but it happens. Like, dating is a bit of a mess. But I feel like you've got to have fun with it. Like, and also just, I don't know. I think I really feel for people who have families that pressurize them into getting into relationships, because I'm so grateful. My mum's just like, don't get a boyfriend. They just make you miserable. And I'm like, that they do, Debbie, that they do. So
my stepmom actually told my dad, she was like, well, and this was when I was still like identifying as bisexual. She went, I just can't see Sophie ever having a boyfriend again. If she's going to be in a relationship with anyone, it's going to have to be a woman, because it's the only person that could keep up with her intellectually. And I'm like, how could I not?
I love that.
How could I not have a big fucking ego when my own parents say things like that?
Legit.
And my dad said something once, and he was like, because I think my stepmom made a comment, oh, Sophie had spark with that person. And my dad turned around and said something like, well, no, Sophie has chemistry with everyone because Sophie is the chemistry. And I was like, and this is why I am the way I am. Yeah, he's so facts. It's like Sophie brings the energy, Sophie brings the chemistry. That's why she has chemistry with everyone.
That's what a lot of women do. It's that whole thing of being like, oh, did I have fun on the date, or was I just, am I just fun? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, you know, is that the case? Like, was it just like a 3-hour like stand-up comedy show, like where I was just talking for the whole time?
It's a one-woman show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then it's like, I think about it, and I think about guys that I've dated, and I was just a bit like, I was the fun one. Like, they were actually not very interesting. Yeah. And obviously I have dated some interesting guys as well, but I felt like I was the one bringing the vibes every time. So it's hard, but I don't know. I'm not on any dating apps anymore, and I don't want anything. I meet a lot of men organically. Mm-hmm. I am very lucky, especially in summer. I have a dog, walking the dog. He likes to talk to everybody. So I get to people. It's an easy icebreaker for someone to be like, oh my God, your dog's so cute. I met so many men this summer. Even just like people are I think people tend to approach a lot more as well. So I do find, and I know I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but I'm a slim, white, blonde woman.
You're hot.
I get approached quite a lot, so I don't want to be like, it's easy, you just walk around and guys approach you, because it's not like that for everybody. Mm-hmm. But it does. I am very lucky that I meet a lot of people in real life, and a lot of guys will approach, and yeah, some of them are weird. Let's be real, some of them are weird, some of them are not, and I am lucky, but I'm just very disconnected from dating. And that's fine, because it's like I'm locked into my friendships right now. Yeah. That's where I'm at. I'm locked into my friendships. I'm in a really good place where I don't feel like I've ever been so fulfilled in my life in terms of my female friends. Not since I was probably at uni. Mm-hmm. So I'm just so happy to be in this space. And it's like, that's what I want to foster. Yeah. Because men come and go.
But that's literally a Sex and the City quote, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my God. It's like
men relationships come and go. Yes. You know, I can't remember the whole thing, but it's one of Carrie's little monologues.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
We're running short on time. I really want to ask you about New Circle Society.
Yes.
If you could quickly sum up for us, what is New Circle Society? Because that leads in really nice to what you've just been speaking about.
Yeah, so New Circle Society is my business for women to make friends in London. It's a community for predominantly women in their late 20s, all the way through their 30s, what people are like 30, 38, 39, 40. I say the average age is like maybe 32, 33. And it's for people that are like our age, women, to make friends. And we have a big WhatsApp community with loads of different group chats, and people are organizing their own stuff. We put on our own events. We work with brands sometimes as well. I'm hosting an event with Elemis to do a watch party for the Singapore Grand Prix.
I was going to bring up F1 because I know you're a big F1 girly.
Yeah, it's so fun. So that's really fun. We do like little unofficial watch parties where we meet up and go and watch like the races together. We do dinners, drinks. And do you want to know what's nice? I think because as well, there's a lot of these groups and communities out there, but because it's quite a small one, it's a lot more intimate. People get to know each other a little bit better. It's very welcoming. And also it's just like, it's just really nice. I've met some of my I'm going to spend Christmas for the second year in a row, I think, with two of the girls that I met through it. Oh, and I'm close with my family, but like, I just love going away for Christmas. So I think, and it's just, I'm so grateful for the people that have come into my life and seeing other people create these great friendships. And it's nice as well because even I feel less pressure for a need for a relationship, because a lot of the time I like having a relationship simply because it's nice to have someone to do things with in London. Yeah. You're like, oh, there's this cool thing, there's this cool bar, this cool restaurant, I want to do all of that. And I now don't feel like I need a relationship to do that, because I can do it with this group of women.
And I feel like more women are realising that than ever. More women are investing so much in their platonic relationships.
Absolutely.
Because they're getting so much back from
it. And it's showing, you know what, let's be real, like not in the same way, like not all relationships work out, not all friendships work out. And you may not get on with someone, you may not, you know, something may fizzle. A friend might hurt you. But at the end of the day, like it's the friendships, you've got more choice. Realistically, unless you're in a polyamorous relationship, you're going to have one man you choose in, whereas at least with friends, you got multiple to go with.
You've got a group. I have different friends that I'll go to for different issues. Different things. I've got a friend who I go to who I want when I want them to say, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got another friend who I'll go to when I need them to be like, Sophie, let's have a think.
Yeah, like be more serious, you know.
Yeah. I've got friends who I know, like, oh, they'll want to see that artist, or they'll want to see that artist. And it's like, and you know, it's not like a hierarchy thing. It's just like, it's nice to have such a plethora of people around you.
I agree, but I'm really so setting it up was one of the best things that I've done, because it's given me so much like purpose and just connecting people, and I really love it. I love it.
I really want to come to one of your
my god
events.
You should. I'll have to like message, I'll see what we've got coming up and let you know, and just
I really love to come to the F1 events, because I really want to get into F1, because so many people I know watch it.
It's so good. You'll get obsessed with it,
and it's like one of those sports where I was like, I could see myself liking this.
You would, and I think it works really like. I really hate to say it, but this is how I got into it, like through Drive to Survive. Did you watch Drive to Survive on Netflix?
No.
You start watching it and it will get you into it. Okay. And then you'll start watching the races alongside like watching it, and you'll be I've started to really become interested, I'll be honest, through my friends, but also through Lewis Hamilton's fashion. That's kind of my gateway. We love Lewis Hamilton and Lewis Hamilton's fashion, and this is it. And this is why I love how fashion and Formula One work so well together, and it's becoming even more. I mean, I've actually just come from an Aston Martin event this morning in store, which is really cool, because Boss are one of Aston Martin's sponsors, and it's just really, it's so cool. I love it. It's interesting. You'll like it because there's only 20. Well, next year there's going to be 22 drivers, and like what other sport? Like that's it for the year. That is it. That's all you're working with. This is the drivers. This is who they are. This is the cars. You've got like the teams competing. You've got the drivers within the teams competing. It's great. You'll love it.
Okay, you need to teach me the ropes.
I will.
I'll come to an event and you'll teach me the ropes.
I love teaching. I love teaching women about Formula One and getting them into it. So I love to.
Leads me nicely on to my final question for you, which is, how are you chasing joy this week? Is it going to be the F1? Is the F1 on this week?
It is on this week. It's the Singapore Grand Prix. So I'm going to watch Singapore Grand Prix with Elamis and the girls from New Circle Society, and that's going to be the perfect Sunday for me. And then my mum's coming down to stay for a few days, so it's going to be. I've got a great weekend ahead of me. Can't wait.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like I'm going to need you for a part 2.
I know. There's so much we could say. Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next episode. Bye.